To put two Big Ten games together like that, of course, big for our program. Just talking offensively a little bit on the day like we had Saturday. Need to be able to run the football. We're able to do that. And, of course, to protect the football. No turnovers, of course, was big. Defensively, need to be able to stop the run, not give up any big plays. In the last few weeks, we haven't given up a lot of big plays and take the ball away. All the things that you need to do. First game, I think, of the year, we got all of our defensive goals. So a lot of good things with that. And, of course, Blake Hayes, just a weapon that he brings to our football team of making them go the distance. So a lot of good things happened. Had a few injuries from the game. Jamal Woods didn't finish the game. Wale Batiku didn't play. Hopefully we'll get some of those guys back and get ready for Rutgers this week. So we celebrated. We've, of course, like last week, we moved on. Seemed like that game was a long time ago. This is always a big weekend for us, Dad's Day, here on campus. I know guys are really excited about that. There's a lot of pressure that comes into walking into the stadium with your father or somebody that's representing in that role for you. But to be able to get 3 Big Ten wins, of course, is big for our program right now. Take your question.
What would you say is the difference between the team week 3, 4, and 5 to this team that's won back-to-back? Could you characterize it?
Well, I think with every team, I mean, you start off and you want to get better as the season goes along. I mean, we're building a program, and when you build, you would like for it to be a finished product right away, but normally it doesn't happen that way. We learned an awful lot. We lost some tough games early in the year, but we've been talking about making improvements and seeing signs of being a good football team. And once you start second half of the season, you should see more of those signs coming into play, and that's what we've seen.
Some of the guys that have been around the program for a while, like Dele Harding, Trey Brown, Stanley Green, how have they stepped up during these last couple weeks?
Those guys have been stepping up throughout their career. It's not like these are guys that all of a sudden start doing what they're supposed to do. On a daily basis, they've been doing that. They have big roles for us, yes. Dele Harding, of course, being the quarterback of our defense. But we have a group of guys that have been doing what they're supposed to do for a long period of time. Seem like more things are going our way a little bit right now.
Chemistry of the team, have you seen that kind of come together all year? And also, how much does the Smith Center play in this? Because you guys are together all the time.
I think everything that's happening is playing a part in us getting better and seeing signs of heading in the right direction. Smith Center, of course, is a big part of that. It's a new day. The expectations, of course, were raised once we moved into it. And I think just for the players to come to work every day, come to school today, come into the building every day in a place like that makes you put your best foot forward. And then, of course, other things. We've talked a lot about what we need to do to continue to get our program up on top, and new facilities were part of that, better product on the football field, and I think we're heading in the right direction with both of those.
The transfer guys, you got to seem like everybody else kind of welcome them, and did that help? How much has that helped?
Yes, when you go out and bring in grad transfers, you need immediate help from some guys. And with their play on the field, but behind the scenes also. All these guys we talked about are team players and filling their role, helped an awful lot.
Is there an update on Ricky Smalling that you can share with us, or do you feel like you can get him back before the end of the year?
Is there an update? He's getting better. We don't actually practice today, so we'll be able to tell you a little bit more a little bit later in the week. Of course, when a player doesn't play, it's concerning, and that's the case with Ricky.
Scrimmage on both sides of football. How much credit should we give Coach Hernandez for getting these guys ready? Late in the season, to still be able to ready to go.
Coach Hernandez has an important role in our program, with our program. Yes, to get a stronger mindset, all of that. He does a great job. I've talked about that. We did. We had success on both sides of the line of scrimmage. We needed that going into the season. You know, Big Ten play, that's going to come into play. So, yes, you need a strength and conditioning program that you feel like will get you ready for that in a new building with the latest and greatest. All of those things help, yes.
Difference when you come in as a heavy favorite as opposed to when you come in as a heavy underdog as a coach, the approach?
Well, I think as we continue to build our program, we got to be able to handle these situations. It's one thing to be big underdogs. Last week, not so big of an underdog. And this week, we're not going to be an underdog. But that all goes along with it. But none of that should affect how we get up, though. We went back to work. We celebrated a victory, enjoyed it, and then it was on to Rutgers. We respect them. They played good football. Their best football they played last week. So that's we've been favorites against them in the past, and they beat us a couple of years here. So we're playing a Big Ten football team that's definitely capable of beating us, and again, we need to play our best ball like we needed to last week.
In young players a couple years ago and many years you've been here, is that starting to show itself, and how is it showing itself?
Well, yes, we did invest an awful lot in young players because that's what our program, we're in a position where our program said we needed to do that. And we knew in the end that we were going to take some lumps, and those guys were going to get better each year. That's what's happened. They're older. They're not seniors, but they're older, and we should get better play from them, and we are. They're running. As we started the season, I talked about one of the things I was excited about. Those young players now control the locker room. That's a good thing for Illinois football.
Way up this year. I know that's something that you've always worked on a lot. What's kind of maybe the biggest difference?
Turnovers, you say it?
Yeah,
Explain that.
turnover number.
The
Just the number of turnovers this year.
Okay,
Defense
all right.
is up.
Defense is the takeaway. I don't understand that part, but keep going. Now I'm with you, though. Keep going.
Year. I know that's something you like to work on. What's maybe kind of the biggest factor in kind of the improvement in that category?
Well, as you say it, we work on it. We stress it. We're constantly talking about it. Our guys understand that. They understand that we can't rely on the offense turning the ball over. And it's a part of our DNA. We think this is what we have to do to win football game. And just talking defensively, I think to a man, you talk to a defensive guy, one of our goals each week as we start is to take the ball away. And if we take it away, and then if you have that matched up with what we're doing on the offensive side, where we normally have good ball security, that says win.
How encouraged were you with the play of Isaiah Gay and Owen Carney, two guys that kind of struggled at times throughout their careers?
I think it says a lot when you have backup players in a role that get an opportunity to play, that have played football around here. We talked about some of the young players that came in together. They were part of that group, and it was their time. Isaiah Gay can rush the pass on outside. Injuries have knocked him behind. Owen Carney hasn't gotten a lot of time, but we needed both of those guys to step up this past week, and they did.
The recent defensive improvements and defensive performances?
Don't quite know. I just know it's not like we weren't practicing back then when we weren't playing as well. And we're practicing hard right now, too. But I think sometimes, it takes a while. If you believe we've stayed the course, you stay the course on when you believe something. And it has a proven success rate. And I think that's where we are. And yeah, guys are buying into more. They're older. They've seen more situations. All of those. And we're can't take too much time figuring that part out. We're going to go back to work tomorrow. And there are a lot of mistakes that we made in this past game that we need to correct.
You guys aren't missing as many tackles or haven't been these last few games. Is there anything you did to shore that up, or is it just execution?
And again, I wish I could give you. I know y'all expect me to give you. We did this. We changed up that. We have tackling drills. We've been going over throughout. We harp on it. We work on leverage. All those things that you need to do to try to avoid it. And then also personnel-wise, we've had some changes. I think it helps when you get a guy like Stanley Green back that's played a lot of football. You get your two safeties that you started the season wanting to play together. I mean, that has helped a little bit too. And just getting the secondary solidified as much as anything. Because in the end, when you're giving up a lot of explosive plays, it's going to come to the secondary to stop that, and they've done a good job of getting them down.
season was delayed a little bit with that hamstring injury. How's he progressed as the season's gone along?
If you go all the way back, he came into training camp the year before that late. He's just a young football player that needs time to develop, and he's going to get better every time. But all of the traits you're looking for in a good safety he has. He's aggressive. He can tackle. He's a good ball. He has good ball skills. So again, sometimes it's a matter of time. You have to bear with the guys as they grow to become really good players.
You talked about the second half of the season and being able to flip the page, and in the second half you are now 2-0. How proud of you of your guys? Fight through adversity, a couple tough losses, but be able to flip the page and now have a successful second half so far.
Well, I just know that we had to do that, and that's what life tells you. You can't live in the past. We knew we had a second half of football coming up, and when you have disappointment early, it's not the end of the game. I just try to compare, make the comparison in a football game. If you're behind at the half, what has been decided? Nothing really. It's how you perform that second half of the game, and it's how you perform the second half of the season. Our players buy into that. It also helps when you come out in the third quarter and you play well right away. You get some momentum going, and that's where we are. All we've accomplished so far is we have momentum in the second half, and we have to ride this momentum is what we have to do.
From Rutgers, offensively, defensively, what impresses you, and what do you think you can exploit a little bit?
I know they had a coaching change and some different things have happened, but defensively, I haven't changed schemes, and same athletes are there. And offensively, there has been a change, and especially of late, when you have a head coach who had the quarterback in high school, they have a history together. And when you have a quarterback, I think he ran the ball over 20 times this past week. Quarterback ran the ball a lot more this past week in the offense that they had, and they put up the most points they have all year. So we assume we're going to see more of that. But just like we're talking about, you have to grow, and each week you find out a little bit more about yourself. One of the best offensive linemen, offensive tackles we'll play against this week with them. So good talent. We'll need to play better ball than we played some of the time this past game.
Calvin Avery, as the season's gone along, it seems like with some injuries and guys getting moved around, he's had a chance to get some more reps out there, and just what you've just kind of seen out of him.
I think as a player, you have to, if you're not getting as many reps early as you would like, if you stay the course, you're going to need everybody through the course of a year, and you have to be ready when your time comes. Calvin's time has come now for him to get more reps, and he played well with the reps he's gotten. Again, another running team that's going to, try a power game against us. You need big linemen like Calvin. We'll continue to play him as long as he continues to make plays and continues to improve.
Mentality thing? Have you seen a mentality switch with him? Because he's a young guy, he's kind of energetic and stuff. But have you seen him kind of lock in and dial in with what you want from your defensive line?
Yeah, he's been. He's been good the entire time he's here. We have a high standard for him, and if we really love how somebody is practicing and playing, they start. If we don't, there's something there that we need to take care of, and that's the case with Calvin. But if you hang in there, you eventually get a chance, as I said, and that's what's happening. And when you get a chance, you need to perform at a certain level, and you continue to play. It's kind of simple as that with all positions.
Staying the court, turning the page in the second half of the season. With a young team, a little older now, but still relatively young, was that you kind of passing on that message to stay the course? Was there older guys?
Well, I'm just going to stop you there. I should hope I and our coaching staff is passing that message along, absolutely. And our older players, we should hope that's the case also. I guess it's just kind of assumed that, when you have a big win that you keep reliving that win forever. I don't think that's the case. And I think guys can get better and enjoy those wins when they come, and realize when you're not an underdog anymore that you can handle that too. That's what I think our football team is there in these situations. Yes, we're constantly talking about every situation that you can think of. We're constantly talking to the team about those. Absolutely.
Message that you have been bringing since day one. Have you seen any change in, not necessarily buy-in or effort? I know you said that's there, but just belief in themselves and belief in what they can do, or is this just the fruit is showing itself now?
Well, I think I can't say that the guys haven't believed in the message on how we presented it. But I think it helps with the message when you have success, though, when you win games. Yes, that helps when you upset people, big wins, and follow it up and win a couple in a row. All these things help when you have success. The buy-in with players, with young people, absolutely.
A little bit earlier how the secondary started to develop and come together a little bit more. In the last 2 weeks, you've moved Tony Adams to corner. Do you feel like that has something to do with it, and why do you think he's been so successful at that position?
I think, you keep working, you look at who you have that week and what's the best combination to give us the best chance to win. We had everyone healthy. This is a combination we think, and the guys in this spot. Saying Tony Adams is at one of the corner positions with Nate Hobbs, Stanley Green, and Sidney Brown at the safety position. This is our best group that we have. Through injuries and just how it played out, we've gotten to this point, and we like it. Tony Adams in particular, he had an big interception, of course, to help us win the week before, and, of course, to start it off that way. But it just wasn't the interception. He's played well tackling in his overall play. But Nate Hobbs hasn't had as many big flash plays, but I think he's put together his 2 best games of the season, these last 2.
Earlier this morning, Governor Pritzker supported the Student Endorsement Act for name, image, and likeness in Illinois. Do you think it's time that these players start getting some?
I'm in favor for the players getting as much as they possibly can. All of us. It's America, right? I'm in favor of everybody getting as much as they possibly can. How's that? Thank you very much.